Hi guys, welcome back to Delicate Moments. I'm Steph. Here's a dress I've made on a previous video. It's so beautiful, very vintage. I absolutely love this dress. If you want to see it being made, click on the link below. But today we're going to be making another dress. So it's going to be a wrap over dress. Let's get started with that.
Do you believe in magic? Delicate moments that last forever.
So let's get started. We've got all our pattern pieces cut and ready to go. We're going to be making a wrap over dress. It's the first time I've made a wrap over dress. And it's going to have a tied skirt again. It's going to tie at the sides with little tie bows. Let's get started. Okay, so now I'm just going to stay stitch around the neckline just to ensure that when I'm sewing the garment together, it's not going to stretch and it keeps its shape. So let's do that now.
In the quiet of the morning light, tiny shoes beside my own, little hands that hold so tight. Already
So I'm going to do that on all 4 pieces.
to grow. Fabric folded on the table.
So all 4 pieces are done, kept the shape nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to apply the markings for the button places on each piece. Sure.
Time moves faster than we know. Moments pass like falling snow. So I sew a piece of today for tomorrow to hold, thread by thread, from heart to heart.
Now we need to apply some interfacing just to ensure that the fabric's nice and strong for our buttons. So I need to make 6 squares of interface to stick where the buttons are going.
One small dress, one fleeting day, but memories never fade away. In every seam and every line, my love is yours for all of time.
Okay, now we have 6 squares of interfacing. We need to iron them onto our fabric.
Lace and light, tiny dreams in ivory and lace.
Now we've added the interfacing, we just need to choose some buttons. So I think we need to go for a pale button.
Years from now, these photographs will hold what words can't always say. A mother's hands, a daughter's laugh, sewn into a single day.
So since we're sewing buttonholes, we need our buttonhole foot.
When you smile, I would hold it for a while.
So as you can see, we've got our buttonhole foot. We're going to put our button in here.
Childhood's fragile from heart to heart.
So that's sitting nicely in there. We're going to attach it to our sewing machine.
Every part, so when you twirl,
So the button goes towards the back. So I'm going to sew a test run to make sure my buttonholes look nice on the fabric I'm using.
one small dress, one fleeting day.
So yeah, I'm happy with that buttonhole. So now I'm going to sew it on the original garment. So now we're working on the side straps. So these are just going to tie the dress together. So I just need to press these in place before we sew them together. So I'll press them in place and then I'll come back. Okay, so now we have 4 straps. I'm just going to sew them so then we close the opening. So we'll get them done now.
On a bitter end, a young mother sat on a cold wooden floor by the glow of a flickering light. A child lay shaking with frost in the air, little hands curled tight in sleep. So she gathered old cloth from a weathered old chest and promised a promise to keep.
So we're just snipping all the tails off.
Move slow through the quiet of night, thread pulling home through the seams. Every stitch held a prayer in a pale candle.
Now we have 4 pretty little straps.
Stitched warmth in a dream.
We're going to find our bodies.
When the blanket was done, she
And we're going to attach these straps.
held them close as the cold wind cried. 2 lonely souls on a splintered old floor, with the winter howling outside.
I'm just going to base them in place now, just to keep them in place while we're constructing the bodies. So
Years rolled on like a river through stone, and the child grew steady and strong. But the needle still sang in the mother's worn hand as the quiet nights drifted along. She stitched little shirts and patched worn out
So we're going to attach the main
through
pieces together.
hardship and hunger and rain.
Going to do this by the shoulder seams again.
Tested the strength of their bones, and summers that soften the pain. Time left its mark in the lines of her face, and the fire in her hands burned low.
And then now I'm just going to sew these in place.
Where the mother once stood, as the seasons drifted like snow. One cold night, much like long years before, when the frost crept under the door, the child found the chest where the old fabric slept, just like mother had done on that floor.
We're going to sew the lining in place now.
The needle moves slow through the silence again, thread pulling love through the cloth. Every stitch held a memory sewn through the years. Every seam held the warmth she once brought. The blanket grew thick in the pale candle glow, as the wind sang low through the years. And the child laid its
So we're going to place them right
all
sides
in
together.
mother's old frame, like a promise
Line up the
heart
seams.
still believes. She smiled so faint as the blanket lay warm on the shoulders that once carried pain. And the child held her hand through the quiet of night, till the morning brought silence.
Okay, now we're just going to sew around the neckline We're going to stop at the little marks we made before, and then we're going to carry on at the second mark. So let's get sewing.
For the warmth she had sewn through a lifetime of love had finally found its own way.
Now we need to trim our seam allowance. We just need to make sure that we leave the bit that we've unsewn. We need to make sure that we leave that clear. We don't touch that seam allowance. So I'm going to get our pinking shears. And we're going to trim the seam allowance.
Morning light through cotton lace, 3 small shadows fill the space. Barefoot laughter down the hall, growing taller, growing small. 2 in ribbons, bows tied tight. One runs faster out of sight. Different steps but hearts aligned. 3 small.
I'm going to sew them with 1/2 inch seam allowance.
Takes time. Mirror glass and magic seams, whisper soft and shared dreams. Threads of love in every line, stitching moments into time. Side by side in dresses sewn, and a brother standing strong. Tiny hands that reach for mine, 3 small hearts in golden light.
Okay, so now we've got our skip pieces. We're going to be working on the top tier.
But still we'll see in
And grab our
matching bows and
top tier
3 small
and our front top tiers.
by side.
Place them right sides together and align the raw edges.
Buttons shining satin white. He waits quietly out of sight. Pretends he doesn't really care. Still he's always standing there. Helping
We're going to sew that together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance.
laughing loud on quiet streets. Different voices, same embrace. Love stitched into every place. Pinned with care and pressed just right. Soft good nights and fading light. Little shoulders almost grown. Still together, never alone. Side by side in morning light. 2 small dresses shining bright. And a brother bold and kind, guarding
Now we're going to put the front pieces onto the back pieces. While doing this, I'm just making sure that I've got pieces the right side up.
tiny hands and satin slips. But in those threads our story lies. 3 young hearts side by side. Years from now, when lace turns old and photographs and frames of gold, we'll see the way we used to stand. 2 in bows, 1 holding hands. Not just fabric, not just heart, but sibling love.
So we've got our top tier and our bottom tier.
Side by side through growing
Bottom tier is very long because it's going to be gathered and to make a nice full skirt. It's probably about 5 meters long. Top tier is going to go onto the body. What we need to do now is we need to overlock all the seams that we've sewn. So it'll just trim down and overlock. That'll stop the edges from fraying and it'll be nice and secure so you can wash it hundreds and hundreds of times.
Side by side, thread by thread, brother close, where it began.
We're going to sew a gathering stitch along the top edge of the bottom tier. We're going to do 2 rows of gathering stitches.
Sewing dresses for angels, I know they'll never grow old. Crafting memories that last forever. Oh, stitched with love. Oh, stitched with love.
Right, so we've got our bottom tier and our top tier. We now need to gather the bottom tier to the same length as the top tier. There's a lot of gathering in this because there's a lot of fabric. It's going to make a gorgeous full skirt.
Sewing dresses for angels, I know they'll never grow old. Crafting memories that last forever. Oh,
So we're now on the next day, and as you can see, we've got all the gathers added to the top. What I need to do now is just sew this in place with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to take that to the sewing machine and get that sewn. So now we have this sewn in place. It's now attached to the top body. So we're now looking a little bit like this, more like a dress. This dress is going to be beautiful. So now we need to attach the lining to the main. What we're going to do is we're going to put the skirt, we're going to put some of the skirt through the armhole and just take away some of that bulk. Now, we're going to roll this skirt up and attach. So we'll clip that in place.
morning light through cotton lace, tiny laughter fills the space, barefoot steps across the floor, growing faster than before, ribbon bows and folded seams, little hands and bigger dreams, every smile, every glance, life stitched into.
And I'm just going to clip them onto the side here because I don't want them to get caught in my stitches. Hopefully that's enough for them not to get caught.
Before it softly slips away. Time is tender, time is fast, so we make the moment last. These delicate moments, soft.
So now this is what we're looking like. We've got skirts on either side and we've got skirts sandwiched in between. What we need to do now is sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way across the waist seam. Just making sure that's nice and neat because we definitely don't want to sew the skirt through this seam. I'm going to sew slowly because I definitely don't want to get it caught.
come alive. Photographs will one day show how small you were, how fast you'd grow. But in
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to top stitch around the whole of the bodice, and then that will secure the holes.
seconds, breathe it in before another day begins. Time is fragile, soft and sweet, so we wrap it at your feet.
Now it's time to work on the sleeves. So we've got our sleeve pieces here.
Soft and
Just going to sew this seam in place with 1/2 inch seam allowance.
golden light, thread by thread, we hold them close in every dress and every pose. Small hearts beating wild and free, becoming who they're meant.
We now need to sew the gathering stitches around the cap of the sleeve.
Childhood drifts like falling snow. Love is sown so it can grow. Years from now, when lace turns old, stories still in threads of gold. You'll remember how it felt, the warmth in hands that gently held.
We now have both sleeves completed. What we're going to do is add them to the bodice.
Memories stitched into your heart. These delicate moments, tender and true. Everyone begins with you. Tiny twirls and shining eyes growing underneath our sky.
Have dress with 2 sleeves. Last thing we need to do is attach the buttonholes. No, not the buttonholes. We need to attach the buttons. So I have my 3 buttons here with me.
Mother's love outlives all time. Delicate moments, hold them near, thread by thread, year by
So we've now finished the dress. This is the final product. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. So it was actually a really easy dress to make, very enjoyable. It was really quick sew, which is always helpful. I love the skirt. It's got so much fabric in it. It just looks so pretty. So my favourite part again would be the wrap over. So if we undo these ties on the side and open it up, we've got 3 buttons which will keep the dress nice and secure. So we've got a button here, a button here and a button here, and that just makes it fit a lot better, and it's not going to come undone while the children are playing. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with how this came out. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to look out for the next video and make sure you're liking. Thank you. Bye.
Believe in magic stitched with love. Little dreams fit like a glove. Moments fade, but threads remain. Sewn in memory, joy and grace, softly sewn in golden light. Little dreams take gentle flight. Every stitch a story told, hearts and threads of silver.